Okay, and we're live. Hey there, welcome everyone. This is Android Development Office Hours live from Devoxx here in Antwerp.
In Antwerp, yeah, so hopefully you can hear us. We're in a noisy conference. We've managed to find a little place with some Wi-Fi and some beautiful logos behind us.
Yeah, just a few hours after the recent Android launches, the Nexus 10 and Nexus 4 have started shipping. And we've got the new SDK out, so we'll be talking about some of the APIs in that and the new Android developer tools as well.
Yep.
So we've got a whole bunch of material to get through.
Yeah.
As always, we'll be taking material from the moderator, which you'll be able to find at developers.google.com/live. And if you comment on the Hangout thread as well, on the Google plus Android's developers page, we'll be able to see your comments on there. And we can invite you into the Hangout and you can come along and ask us some questions live at Devoxx if you want.
Or if you're at Devoxx and
if you're
somehow
at Devoxx,
following along,
yeah.
then come ask us. We're at the back of the downstairs hall.
Excellent.
So many ways to get in touch.
And thank you very much, Chris, again for joining us in the office hours.
Oh, hey,
Hopefully,
Hi,
we
guys.
can make up for some of our deficiencies in our limited setup here today because we can't actually reach the keyboard. It's over there somewhere.
No worries.
We'll be able to see some of the chat questions and hopefully get back to your questions, your answers.
Trying to load the moderator on roaming data. So.
Excellent. So the
Wi-Fi.
first technical hitch being we can't see the moderator, but we promise to answer your questions on it. I'm just going to have a look at the moderator.
Well, why don't we just go over some of the stuff in 4.2 first? So I think very exciting 4.2. It's got some nice new interesting APIs. I'm sure all you developers have been hitting the SDK manager and downloading the latest and greatest and going over the API diff, seeing what's new and important.
Mm-hmm.
So I think for me, one of the main things I want to make sure people are aware about are the changes to content providers, right? So now by default, if you're kind of testing your app on SDK 17 and you change your target SDK, that's got an implication for the default value for content providers exported setting, which means like whether or not you're exposing your content provider to other applications. It used to be default to public, is now changed if you change your target SDK to default not to public. So you might, if you were relying on that default value somehow and not setting it explicitly, then you may have changed behavior. So just be really aware of what that means. Check that out.
Yeah, as soon as you start targeting API level 17, you may need to publicly enable your content provider. For me, it's the new APIs for Dreams, Daydreams, and lock screen widgets that I'm most excited about. We'll be giving away some swag here to any developers at Devoxx that come to our stand with a brand new lock screen widget or Daydream. So the Daydreams, as you may already know, is like a screensaver API, very similar to like wallpapers. You implement them yourself, and you can expose in an interactive manner your content onto the display of the device as it goes to sleep or whilst it's charging or docked.
And for me, it's the presentation API. I think it's one of the most exciting APIs in 4.2. So it lets you create different content for different screens. So there's been a lot of buzz about the Mirrorcast, which is coming in the Nexus 4, this device, to allow wireless sharing to displays. But the same API works over HDMI as well, so you can start writing applications right now that use the presentation API, and any 4.2 device will be able to use it over HDMI as well. I think it's a really nicely thought out API. So you get a different context, which will, load different assets depending on the resolution and the density of the target display which you're sending it to, which is really nice. There's some really nice changes with the media router class. So the media router will allow you to send content to the best screen available, essentially, and also the media router provider, which will allow you to route video and audio to the best kind of like sync for it. So some standardized, some standard components you can put into your app now to take advantage of these things. So really exciting stuff. I can't wait to see what people build with that.
Absolutely. On the stand here at Devoxx, we're demoing the Nexus 10 on a 50-inch plasma screen. Of course, the Nexus 10 with its 2500 by 1600 pixel display has to downscale for our 50-inch Full HD plasma.
You're like, oh, it doesn't look quite so good on the 50-inch. I like it better on the 10.5.
Every time I say 2500, Roman tells me off because it's 2560, and those extra 60 pixels are important. Along with the extra 48 pixels on the Nexus 4. 48? 720 to 768.
768, yeah.
No, 768. 48 more pixels. Your UIs, of course, will seamlessly scale. The display resolution on the Nexus 10, as Nick will demonstrate for us, is still a 10-inch tablet, and this is the first XHDPI 10-inch tablet. The previous, pretty much every single previous Android 10-inch tablet has been MDPI, so a resolution density of 1. And because this is XHDPI, it's got a density of 2. So all your layouts that were done in dips are just going to scale perfectly. It's got it's 1280 by 800 dips. the same as the previous 10-inch tablets.
Yeah, one thing to watch out for is, well, we've been testing a bunch of apps on this device before it launched, and pretty much everything's scaled beautifully. One or two apps out there might have used pixel sizing rather than dip sizing, naughty developers, and they find, most of your content would reflow nicely, and then one element would be like too short, for example, because it wasn't getting scaled up in ratio. So one thing to watch out. We've been joined by Matt as well.
Yes, yeah, so hey guys. Your layout that you saw before, but we're getting the assets from the XXDPI folder from your phone's layouts. If you had phone layouts for, say, the Galaxy Nexus. So hopefully everything will look perfect. Who else has joined us down there? I'm just ducking down to see you.
I'm Joe.
Joe Simpson. Hey Joe, nice to meet you. If people in the Hangout want to ask questions, they're going to have to wave a bit, and I'm going to go nearer to the laptop where I can hear them. But, which I'll do right now.
We could just zoom in a bit. We could just
one thing is you said about the new DPIs.
Does anyone in the Hangout have a question for it?
The new DPIs, you move into the Gradle system. Is there a way that we can have builds that have only the XXH DPI in, so people who don't have XXH DPI don't get them assets as well?
Interesting. So the question is, I think we make multiple APKs which have different asset formats in, so the people who don't have XXH.
We can't hear you, Rich.
Rich, speak here.
I'm talking to the laptop, not the microphone. I was trying to repeat the question. I think the question was, can we make APKs that don't have the XXH DPI assets in to go to some devices? And yeah? Someone nod if that was the question. No, not at the moment. Multiple APK doesn't.
What was the question? I missed it.
Can you make APKs which, so you can do XXH DPI assets and make a very big APK to devices that support it, but then for other devices.
Yeah, you can split on screen density.
Okay. You see Devoxx brain fuzz right now. When you upload the multiple APK, you can split on
sport screen.
You can split on split screen, but that's you can do it for X large, but not for XHDPI.
I think you can. I can't remember.
You can definitely do it on screen size. So maybe you'd want to do the smaller screen sizes and the bigger screen sizes in different. But I didn't think you could do it on density. Matt, Chris, somebody's got access to Devoxx.
Compatible screens.
I would have thought there would have been a way of saying if it supports.
Alright, hold on.
Look.
And I'll just sit here smiling.
Can you still hear us? Somebody
yeah,
speak?
we can. Hello?
Damn it, I can't hear you. Are you speaking?
Yeah, we are. We're talking.
Well, Matt's talking.
Oh, there you are. Hello.
Alright then.
Okay, this is a little bit of fail, but if we just rewind for the last couple of minutes, I'll be able to hear what people inside the Hangout say. So, I think the answer was no. But hopefully Matt or Chris answered it when everyone else would answer.
I have a moderator now.
And we have a moderator now as well. Let's jump into the first question from the moderator then. Also, I should turn the camera around so you can see what's going on here, but we're in the middle of a hall with about 2,000 people in it. So if we see someone we know, we'll drag them in. Hopefully we can get some of the Android framework engineers to come and sit on one of our knees here. We've only got 2 chairs. I'll take Red Man, he's slightly lighter. Okay, cool. Moderator then.
Okay, let's go for the question. How does the Google Play search index work? I have an app that is called something I can't speak. It's pronounced in Spanish, but the Spanish search index doesn't rank it. Okay. To which Sparky joined us?
Sparky's not with us at the
He
moment.
pinged us trying to join. We haven't.
Oh, did he ping us trying to join?
Yeah. Has given a pretty good answer.
Go on, can you read that amazing LG Nexus 4 screen?
Yeah.
Whilst Nick decodes Sparky's answer.
I'm trying to read it. How does the Google Play search index work is basically the question. And it's quite
generally we
detail.
can't answer that, but...
Yeah, but Sparky's given some very good advice to check the moderator out. Basically, it's saying don't use some very generic words because they're going to be highly competed against. Generally, it comes down to like normal stuff. Like we're going to rank apps based on like a lot of signals, like much like Google Search, which we don't give the exact algorithm out to, obviously. But it's the stuff you'd expect. It's going to be things like the quality of your app, the ratings, how good your listing is, the number of installs, number of people who kind of install the app and then don't uninstall it, and lots of signals like this. So generally the advice is always just write a really good app and concentrate on the app quality and just represent it very fairly in your description. If you don't try and use like a keyword section where you list every every single keyword you can think of in the description, because that's actually something we're actively, think is a sign of a bad quality app, someone who's trying to game the system. So you'll be penalized for that kind of behavior. So just don't try and be too clever. Concentrate on quality and write a fair description, and that'll work. The only exception to that rule is if you have a name of an app which is kind of close to a dictionary word but a slight play on it, then sometimes our search algorithm does something called query rewriting, where it says, "We think did you mean?" kind of queries, where it thinks you've done a typo and it's trying to be really helpful in correcting it. If there is a case of that where you're close to a dictionary word and people are getting their query rewritten to the dictionary word rather than your app's name, then that obviously we need to know about. So you can use the report a problem on the Google Play developer support to actually report that to us, and we'll try and factor that into the ranking.
Yep, there's a great contact form on Google Play developer support where you can report things back to the support team. Search queries being one of them. And hey, Sparky, thanks for joining us.
Hey, were you guys talking about the application that doesn't surface well in the store?
Nope.
Yes, we were, Sparky.
Okay, so what happened was actually that app's search result is correctly placed, but the primary title of the app is in English. So when you search for it in Spanish, if your user interface is in English, you're not going to see it at all.
Fair enough. I hope the developer gets that message then.
I actually reported that as a feature request to the store, that if you get an exact title match in a language that's not the primary locale, show the exact match.
What's going on?
I know, sorry dude, this guy can't hear what's going on. But what we do have is Paul Kinlan pulling faces at us over there. I'll show that. Okay.
Shall I go back to the moderator?
I'll just see if there's someone else who's joined us in the Hangout. There's someone without a picture. Maybe they have a question. Also, we have something in the comments down there. Okay, no, it was just Matt adding Sparky somehow. Yeah, Sparky, do you want to grab the next one out, the moderator?
Shall I read it?
I'm
all right, sorry. Nick would like to read it. Sparky, Nick would like to read it so he knows what the hell's going on.
Okay.
That's fair enough.
Good question from Andrew, the self-named one-man moderator machine Kelly. Says, regarding user switching in Android 4.2, how does that affect Google Cloud messaging? If I register a device ID as one user on my server, will other users have different device IDs? If it's a single ID, how is a notification presented to user A if user B is using the device? Got it?
I'm sure Sparky.
Oh, I thought you knew this. I'm not even listening. We're single-threaded today. It's either Rich or me.
Yeah, we're slightly distracted. I was going to show you what the conference looks like. See? Look at the great big light. Come on, Eddie. Down there. That failed. That's a big kind of fail. Instead, I didn't answer the question that you.
So, do you know the answer? So, if you have multiple users on a device, do they get different registration IDs for GCM, or is it the same registration ID?
Tied to your Google account, isn't it?
It's totally got to be different ones, yeah. It's tied to your Google account, so yeah, the Google account that they're logged in with it's tied to.
So it's a device and account pair.
Yeah.
I think that's right as well.
So potentially, if you're logged in with the same account under different users on the same device, you could have multiple.
So what happens if a user isn't foreground, and then do they stack? So I think it's exactly the same behavior as if the device was off, right? So yeah, that's right. If I switch to another account, then all of a sudden all my notifications come through.
Sounds good to me.
I thought I'd heard some messaging that implied that, for example, you would continue to get your Gmail in the background even when you weren't logged in, but I don't have a source on that. It was just something I heard.
Okay, not sure about that. Gmail in the background even when you're not logged in. Next.
I think that whoever writes documentation
hold on.
on there. Can you tell the person who writes documentation for GCM to put that in then? Because I think that needs a lot of cleaning.
Really can't hear you. Hopefully Sparky can.
Are you looking at the action bar question?
No, about the GCM. If the person who writes that can put some information about multi-users, how that works.
Hopefully between Sparky and I mean people's joke, how they can sort that out.
Okay.
I can't hear it. Ah, the joys of doing things live from a conference. At least we have new devices.
Did Andrew design in action live from the conference yesterday? That was really nice.
Yeah, you were smart and chose a room,
Yeah.
as opposed to the conference floor, which is a little bit noisier. But conference floor, you get signage. The signage is very important for
The signage is beautiful. I envy you.
Shall I do another question?
We just went to an awesome talk. A talk by Chet Haas, lunchtime talk today. It was just a short 30-minute talk on the process of process. And he came up as a process methodologist consultant.
Yeah. It's just new crystal methodology.
Crystal methodology, yes.
Yep.
And
Looks promising. Looks promising.
absolutely. Yeah,
I can't get enough of it.
No. Perfect.
Anyway, next one. Here's a good question because I know the answer to it. Jan Souza, I'm probably saying that wrong, from Brazil, watches in Brazil, says, is there any way to use account-picker.new choose account intent on the emulator? When I wrote it on the emulator, it says nothing can handle this. So that's actually the subject we just did a code lab on Devoxx on Monday. And if you check my Google Plus stream, you will see I shared all the details. So you can want to learn more about using this new Google Play Services and identity framework. There's a step-by-step code sample on how to get that working. So the simple answer is no. The Google Play Services basically relies on an APK being installed on your device. This is kind of managed by the Play Store. The Play Store silently updates this Google Play Services on your device. So because the emulator doesn't have the Play Store or any of that infrastructure, there's no way for it to work. If you could somehow pull the APK off of your device and perhaps install it on the emulator or acquire it through some other means, that could possibly work, but I wouldn't know anything about how to do that.
Excellent. I agree. I'm just trying to get hold of a couple of the Android engineers here to bring them in, make sure that we do get to interview them. All the talks are running about 20 minutes late, so they should be finishing about...
Okay.
What's the next one? Does anyone from the Hangout have a question? I can see we've had a few more people join us.
Yeah. Hang on, everybody. If you have something you want to talk about, please just speak right up.
You can see people talk.
Yeah, Sparky was just saying that if you have a question, just ask. But it looks like not, so... Next muffin.
Okay. Right then. So Andrew Kelly again says, I have an action bar with several tabs. If I run my app in portrait mode on a Nexus 7 running 412 and have target SDK set to 15, the tabs are displayed as a drop list. However, if target SDK is greater than 15, the tabs are displayed as a second row underneath. Why the change?
You'll notice this is kind of like...
So I think that's picking up on some of the flexible sizing behavior of the action bar. The action bar will smartly say, if you're trying to use too many tabs and there just isn't enough room, they're going to get too small to be clickable. It'll actually automatically turn that into spinner nav for you. I'm guessing there must be a constant defined somewhere which says that when you have SW600 DP device, over X number of tabs, turn it to this drop down, and sounds like that changed, but I wasn't aware of that. I'd have to take a look at the action bar.
Yeah, we introduced that in Ice Cream Sandwich with the Galaxy Nexus phone. I'm thinking that maybe we just, at the time, didn't spec that for a tablet, and the reason it comes up in API level 15 or above is because the Nexus 7 was our first small tablet. That was my guess on that one.
Fair enough. It says that he thinks... It doesn't matter.
You can tell me later.
I can tell you later. We'll have a deep, meaningful discussion about it
I look forward
in an
to it.
hour or two. I can't get my internet to get hold of Chet. We need to get... Can you go and find Chet and Roman for us? What does he look like? He looks like an Android engineer.
I'll ping him.
Green, yeah, green. Green with big ears. Like the top of his head up here somewhere.
He's offline.
Oh dear. No, just head to our stand and see if there's anyone there who wants to come and get interviewed. Our stand? No, just ask anyone on the stand. It looks like a Googler. Who does Android? Who might have an opinion on stuff. Cheers, Steve.
Did Roman have opinions?
Chet and Roman are quite opinionated. So I've been told.
Okay. Well, he's French, so. Anyway,
Okay.
racial slurring aside.
Yes. I'm going to pay attention to the next question. I'm going to try and answer it myself.
Any live questions? Do you want to? We
No, I
seem
don't
to have
think
more
so.
people.
No, still Brian and Matt and John.
It's very weird. I can't hear anything back from you guys. I feel
They're
very.
not talking. They've been really, really quiet today, I think.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. I don't know the answer to that one.
Dare I ask, did anyone manage to order an Nexus 4? Oh, Chris, did you manage to order a Nexus 4?
Just a few.
Just one.
Did any of them arrive today?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
The 10s have shipped, but the 4s haven't yet. I don't know.
Okay. Yeah, I heard some people saw some pictures of 10s appearing on the Google Plus streams. Hopefully, we get our shipping sorted out and tablets out to people in more stock soon.
Yes,
Please.
hope so. Okay, next question in the moderator says it's from Shiki Aman in India. Probably saying that wrong. I would like to develop a plugin for the Google Maps app, or perhaps a lab feature dealing with the favorite places people mark. Is it possible for third-party developers to do this, I guess? Does Google Maps expose some APIs, or is it able to interact with other apps? So, if I'm interpreting that correctly, the answer is pretty much like no. There's no kind of like plugin architecture. You can't write a lab. Labs is a feature of the application. It doesn't kind of like query the device looking for other people's labs.
Yeah, so the Google Maps app on Android itself doesn't expose that plugin feature or labs or like that. Obviously, you've got the map view if you want to embed it into your own application.
Yeah.
Or there is a Google Maps API on the
So
internet.
that's right. So basically, it sounds like they're trying to work out the places people have starred. I don't know intimately the Google Maps API, whether or not you can query that for a user's account. I don't know. There may even be an intent broadcast. I doubt it. But
I somehow doubt it.
yeah.
I doubt you get access to where other people's favorites. The Places API may. No, it's unlikely, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's quite
so I don't
personal,
think you'll
that
be able to
data.
do it on device. I think your best bet is to look into the Google Maps API and work out whether or not you can do a web call, an authenticated web call, to find out the user's favorites and then go from there. That's your best bet, I believe.
Alfredo's just joined us from behind the camera. Fantastic Italian counterpart.
Should I go? Or does someone else want to do something?
Do you want to come in and say hello? Yeah, why not? Hey, Alfredo. I did a code lab in Florence with Alfredo recently.
Yeah. Hi guys.
We're kind of down there, up there, and the microphone's over here.
Wow. 1, 2, 3. Okay.
And only I can hear what they say. I think they're saying you're very nice.
Okay. Thank you.
Good
Hi
t-shirt.
guys.
Good t-shirt.
Yes, it's from the fest in Sicily.
Okay.
I remember where.
Yes.
Yeah.
The names of the communities that organize the fest. Yeah.
Have you had a chance to look at the new Android SDK yet?
I downloaded it yesterday and I read some documentation on it. Yes, but tonight I want to experiment with the new API.
Which one?
Particularly the Daydream API.
Okay.
Yes, I want to create a kind of application that gets photos from the stream Devoxx, from the Twitter stream of the Devoxx, and show them on your.
If you
tablet.
write that tonight, then we can have it on our stand tomorrow all day, and then
yeah,
we can just
yeah.
read.
In fact, I want to
To
try.
be at the self-maintaining stand.
Yeah, you have to get a lot of caffeine, a lot of coffee, a lot of sticks to stay up all the night. Yeah.
Have you checked out the Daydream API yet? The docs for it?
No, still not. Yeah, I'm very curious.
Yeah.
But,
Maybe you can come back and join us
yeah.
next week.
Okay.
Maybe you can take the source code of the photo table Daydream,
Yeah.
which is like one that does something
Yeah,
similar.
it's very similar.
And
Yes.
go from there.
And provide the photo not from the gallery but from the stream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Okay, you look very nice with this hairpiece.
With my headpiece.
Headpiece.
It's very quiet in this headpiece. I don't know if anyone else has said anything at all. Or if it's just broken. Headpiece, yes.
Okay, got it.
Okay, cheers. Do you want to come up?
There is
Yeah,
a place
come on
also for you.
Yeah, come on, Paul. Paul Kinlan.
The man, the legend.
There he is. Joining us here at Devoxx. Team Google London
Microphone,
and
screen, camera.
Hello.
Testing 1, 2, 3. What are you doing here at Devoxx, Paul?
So I'm here
No,
to
what the hell are you doing? Here at
What am I here doing? How did you get in?
You do Java?
This Java conference.
What do you do with Java conference?
So they like
Java
to know about the best bits about the web and where the web's going and all this type of stuff. So I'm here to talk about Chrome and what we're doing in the web. And I will talk closer. I apologize. But yeah, we're here to talk about HTML5, JavaScript, all the things that modern Java developers use for their client-side technology.
Excellent.
So
Giving a
Yeah.
talk today?
a birds and feather talk actually at 8. So if anyone's watching, a both, yes.
And if anybody knows where that term came from, please tell us.
Yeah. So at 8 o'clock we're doing a Chrome apps, like birds and feather thing.
We should pimp out what we did. We never really told anyone, but it's online and people can
Yeah.
do it now. So on Monday this week, we gave a 3-hour workshop on integrating Google Drive into Android applications. So we had a wonderful, exciting Notepad application, but it was just offline, shockingly offline, you could say. If you delete it, you lose all your data, and that's not how we roll.
Exciting. It used Roboto Lite because I made it.
Use Roboto Lite so that everyone in the room who didn't have the API level, the 4.1 SDK installed, couldn't compile the project without deleting Nick's style.
Worth it.
After, it takes about an hour. You go through the Google Drive setup online, you put a few libraries in your project, and then you can synchronize files with a user's Google Drive. I personally really like.
So how does that work? Is that intent-driven, or is it?
It's using the Drive API.
We're using the Drive API.
Drive API.
Yeah.
Okay.
I really like it giving user their own data,
Yeah.
as opposed to it coming onto my server and them not really trusting me with their notes. I like the fact that it's there on their own on Google Drive. They can see it. They can edit it online. They see it. It syncs to all the devices.
Yeah.
I think giving people their own data is definitely the future.
Well, are there
And
any
you
apps? that
don't
use
have
it?
to build your own backend, right? Like,
Yeah, no, it's nice. That's why I like it.
Yeah, there's no server side. Such store Google Drive Plus. So that went through the G Plus stream yesterday. We should repost. Is there a link somewhere to the worksheet if people want to try
just
it out?
go to my stream. I think I don't know.
Yeah,
which
go on
link
plus
or
Nick Butcher and plus him, and plus him again, and you'll find the link.
Plus one to that.
If you plus them again, it's unfollow. So
Well, yeah, that's kind of what I was aiming for. We have a content background. Okay, next muffin.
Winning.
Next muffin.
Next muffin. All right. So Lars in Amsterdam. I wonder if you're going to DroidCon Holland next week. We'll be there. Maybe see you there. Maybe perhaps. Anyway. Lars says, I have a series of PDF links in my app I would like to open inside my app, but almost all the PDF libraries are licensed, so that I need to open source my app. Should I intent it to a PDF viewer app, or try to find a library and build it into my app?
Good question, Lars from Holland. Is there an answer down there, or should I just rattle one off?
Sparky says this is a great question. Then Andrew Kelly proposes whether web views can open PDFs, which they can't.
If you found an online viewer for PDFs, you can do it.
Google Docs does, or Drive.
Okay, so generally I think...
Chris just said Drive can, which it can. Okay. So potentially you could upload it to Drive and open it using our Drive API that we gave a talk on. And that is at least a free way of doing it. PDF is a proprietary format that's licensed. Generally, you do have to license a product for it if you want to include it inside your application.
use PDF.js if it's inside a web view.
Apparently, you can use PDF.js if it's inside a web view.
Maybe.
Is that
No,
free?
I've never tried it.
Is that one of those?
It is an open source one, but I think it might be friendly, like licensed in a friendly way. Okay. It doesn't mean you have to open source everything.
Potentially, you could use PDF.js or Google Drive for license a solution.
So my answer would be it also comes down to the kind of data, like if it's something that only makes sense within the context of your app. So I've seen apps that are basically like textbook apps, which they want to keep you within the application and just use like PDF as like the rendering type technology. Then that makes sense to try and find a library. Whereas if it's something where the content stands alone, then I think that lends itself more to like the Android-y way would probably be to fire off an intent. And why rebuild, why reinvent the wheel when there are apps out there like Replica is my favorite PDF reader, which offers tons of great functionality, like annotations and all that good stuff. Why rebuild all that when you can just pass it off? So yeah, it depends on the content.
So Chris Baines nicely chips in with, are these guys on something? Thanks for that, Chris. Of course we are.
Sure.
A lack of sleep, actually. Writing a 3-hour Drive presentation.
Or left come down, maybe, I don't know.
A left come down, honestly. Sorry about that.
You were to speak it in last night?
Yeah.
Nice.
And then Joe says, yeah, you could launch an intent to Google Drive to open file. Excellent suggestion. And Sparky has put in the link to our code lab. Have you put that on the comment thread as well, Sparky? Or if you could, on the Plus Android developers. No, but only people inside the Hangout can see this one. Yeah. Everybody to get access to it. But don't put it on YouTube.
Shall I go for the last moderator one? I'm going to skip one of them because it links out to a Stack Overflow thread, which I can't get to because my internet's gone. But Richard Thompson asks, if I have an app that displays a list of places and then places on the map, you could switch between them with a drop-down on the action bar. If the app offers other features, which is the best way to navigate to other functions? Perhaps a fly-in app menu. So my answer would be, so that sounds more like kind of like filtering the same kind of data. So yeah, if you have the same list and you have two representations, like a map representation and a list representation, you could use a drop-down. You could use like overlay tabs. It might work quite nicely in that situation. But But then if you had other navigation options, then you probably would want to go like upper screen to get to those. You probably want to have, one kind of like navigation type affordance as well as like a global navigation affordance. That sounds like it's getting a little bit too much. You could do that with like a global drop-down spinner nav and then tabs underneath to do the change between map and list. Any other ideas?
I've seen that before. Yeah, what?
Any other ideas? Could use the flying.
Fine.
I think flying works well when you have a list of stuff, not so well when it's kind of a couple of things. It depends again. Feel free to like post some sketches of what you're trying to build, and mention us, and we can chime in with a few bits of feedback. It's quite hard to talk about it in the abstract.
Absolutely. Sparky, in the meantime, are you following the Plus Android developers' comments in case there are any, because we can't see them from this end? On the G Plus post, we usually get some questions in there, or people asking to be added to the Hangout. I think he's looking. Everyone's very, very quiet.
One question comes through, which I don't know the answer to. Does the new Bluetooth stack in 4.2 support Bluetooth for low energy? BT,
oh my God, we can have a conversation about this. My Bluetooth knowledge is not good enough. I know that we have Bluetooth 4.0, and the Nexus 4 has it. I know there is a new Bluetooth stack. I don't know how all the different profiles and Bluetooth API levels. Does Bluetooth 4 mean that it has things like low energy? I don't know what Bluetooth 4 encompasses. Whether it means it has health profile?
Well, my understanding it didn't mean it had to.
Okay.
I'm not an Android guy. So it's like,
No, I mean not in Android, but just
generally,
in the real
is that it
world.
didn't have to.
Does anyone in the Hangout have any knowledge on Bluetooth, or has worked with Bluetooth in any considerable way before?
So I have something best about Bluetooth is I didn't realize I could create a personal area network with it, and I used it overnight, and it's beautiful. And it just worked from Android straight away. It's like
it's magic.
Yeah, I just connected all my stuff to hotel Wi-Fi. Brilliant.
Magic. Blue magic, not black. Blue magic.
Nobody in the Hangout.
So we've got one question in the Google Plus thread. If you wanted to tackle that one.
I was still on the kind of the Bluetooth one. If anyone had any insights.
Sorry.
No, I even looked this up. Sorry, Joe.
Wikipedia says yes, it does have that in version 4. But on Wikipedia version 4 it says it has Bluetooth high speed and Bluetooth low energy.
Wikipedia page says Bluetooth 4 has low energy?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and again, I don't know if we have APIs for any of that sort of thing, or if it's just taken care of by the Bluetooth stack. I imagine it's taken care of by the Bluetooth stack, but whether you can inquire if it's in low energy mode, got a device that's going to be connected the whole time, like a heart rate monitor or something, or a pulse thing. I don't know.
I don't think we were at that level of Bluetooth yet.
Sorry?
I don't think we were at that level of the Bluetooth API yet, though.
No, I don't think we are either. But because I've had quite a few questions about it now, I'll try and look it up during the week, and maybe we can talk about it next week. Maybe we need to do an Android developers Bluetooth special. One person might join. We'll be like, hey, this is all about Bluetooth.
Do you know that Bluetooth's
Us and Paul Hansen.
Viking?
Bluetooth's named after a Viking?
Yeah, he managed to bring lots of people to the table and they all talk together, and that's what Bluetooth is making everyone talk to each other.
It's an epic piece of knowledge, Nick.
Well, I used to live
I
near the
feel
capital
smart.
of Viking England. Here in the world. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay.
Every day's a school day.
Matt has a question from the Android Developers Plus thread, G Plus thread.
Cool. So in-app purchasing and Google Checkout, why can we not have a callback functionality like a normal Google Checkout transaction? It should be important that we know the status of a payment, especially for systems created by developers that require licensing based on a complete and successful payment.
Yeah. It's an in-app billing question. Why can't we have a callback for the payment status, things like that?
Good feedback, thank you.
Good feedback, yeah. We're taking on board a lot of the in-app payments feedback at the moment. Like the Play team took on board a lot of feedback for their developer console and produced a new one. We're taking on board feedback for in-app billing, and we'll see where that leads us. Personally, I would like an updated API of some sort.
I'd like to get prices.
Being able to get prices, there's a lot of feedback we get from conferences every time we stand up in front of an audience. They want to know how to get prices. And similarly, the status of transactions, things like this are very important. So, yeah.
I'm going to head off.
Thanks very much for joining us.
No, thank you for inviting me in. And
All right.
If I've ruined it, I'm sorry.
If you want to pull any funnier faces,
It was a delight.
I wasn't pulling funny faces.
Just his
That's
face.
It's my normal face. Yeah. Anyway, I'm going to see the dart talk. So
Right.
I will catch you guys later.
Seth Ladd talking about darts.
Seth Ladd talking about dart.
See that?
It's going to be good. I mean, you'll be in the keynote tomorrow. As
Oh
well.
yeah, we're going on about Parlay, about Devoxx, but they're all going to be available on parlays.com as well. So if you hear us talking about, or you should check out the schedule as well. There's some really, really cool talks. I'm really looking forward to one from Chen Raman tomorrow again, called For Butter for Worse. Get some really technical information about the Android rendering system. And there's a really, really good three-hour talk from Chen Raman yesterday, which was packed full of tips and tricks and how to get to the bottom of performance issues. And I learned a lot, so we're trying to disseminate that.
We'll have to share those links for the parlays when they're online on the G Plus stream so people can see them.
Yeah.
Also, we were just up in Chet and Roman's What's New in Android talk, and they said that we're now at 560 million activated devices. I'm not sure I've heard that number before. I was still running up to 500 million. Mind?
Totally no. Should we go for another question?
Yeah, let's do it. Next muffin.
Shall I go? Am I allowed to?
Yep. See what-
Question for Chris and the moderator. Someone says, "What, you've got too many Nexus 4s? Can I have one?"
No.
Sorry, that was mean and evil, and we did something similar in Chet's talk when they said, has anyone got the 4.2 update yet?
I didn't hear. I saw Chris pop up, so I'm guessing he answered. But I believe you sent or cancelled the orders, right? They're not up for grabs.
Only Rich can hear me, so.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Chris.
Yes, I ordered like 5 and
Ordered 5.
cancelled 3.
Cancel 3.
So I've
He's
got
kept 2.
2.
2 16s?
2 16s.
Good for you. Yeah, we had a few people who managed to order multiple. They haven't had any trouble offloading them. Believe me. So hopefully the stock.
I read that those Nexus
Massive
4s
demand.
sold out in Germany in
Do get
15
more
minutes.
something too.
Yeah. There were people here at Devoxx who were VPNing through to Germany trying to buy the devices. I think the whole thing was quite painful.
Any live questions?
Any live questions? Or Matt's just typed something in. Typing stuff in.
Hey.
I really don't know any more on the Lineage stuff. We'll try and bring some more information to you on the Bluetooth stack in the coming weeks. We might not be able to get it next week. Maybe we can even get a Bluetooth engineer from the Android team online.
Just read the source.
Or just read the source.
Source of truth.
The APIs. Who knows? Go on then. Next question.
Yeah, one more. Okay. So Ali in Chicago says, "Is content provider testing possible with multiple authorities? He needs to test a batch operation, but I cannot do that with current test case classes, as they can only be mapped to one authority." Does anyone know the answer to that? I don't.
Alfredo's searching his memory banks. It's not in there. Someone who's got a PC might be able to have a quick look at that. But I don't have anything off the top of my head for testing.
Okay. Sorry, I know that one.
Just very bright lines.
Okay. Another one's come in from Rob M in London saying he has a path, an SVG, which is SVG vector, which he's drawing to canvas using drawpath. As of Jelly Bean, there seems to be a new optimization that stops it drawing if any of the path is below 0, 0, i.e. there are negative path points. Is this a new optimization? Is there a way around?
Now that's what we need
looking
Chet Roman
desperately
for. Come on.
for Roman, because like he probably
See if you can
wrote
find
that.
it. Yeah, see Chet or Roman or both. They usually come as a pair.
Both no, but maybe surround.
Yeah, have a look upstairs or on the booth.
Yes.
Maybe you can.
I will be back with you.
If you find him, don't let him get away.
Okay.
Because he
So,
can answer this question.
we
much
don't know
better.
the answer. Roman definitely will. We will try and track him down, and if we don't get him before the end of the show, we will reply in the moderator. So,
Okay.
but I'm guessing yes, it's probably a new optimization. I believe actually we only added support for drawpath to be done by the hardware rendering pipeline as of 4.1, right? So that sounds like it could be exactly this. So if it was previously being done by the software pipeline and then we switched to the new hardware rendering pipeline, you might perhaps see this kind of change in behavior.
You can just find out, right? Yeah.
You
Testing
could.
with hardware.
You could, if you're targeting like target SDK of 16 or more, you'll automatically opt into the hardware pipeline. You could get the view and say set software type, set set layer type to software, which will turn off the hardware accelerated pipeline and see if you get the old behavior, and then you can be sure that it is like a hardware-software rendering issue.
I'd imagine it is. It sounds a lot like one. Cool. Okay. Is that Matt just jumping out and jumping in again?
Yep.
Cheers, dude.
Last question I can see in the moderator here comes from Gregory Mintz, saying he has several crash reports reporting a SQLite exception which says can't upgrade read-only database from version 0 to free, and it only occurs on some devices, particularly one U8860 something device. Any ideas why this may occur?
That sounds like a Hawaii.
Do a little bit more context on that.
I know.
Is he trying to upgrade this? What? Is it in his own
It's a Hawaii device. Sounds like
it was a what, sorry, Joe?
a Hawaii. I don't know how to say it properly. It's a Chinese one.
A 5 class?
A Hawaii device.
A Huawei device.
Yeah, that's
Huawei.
A Huawei. Yeah, I think it probably is as well.
So if it's a device-specific issue, like if you're working fine on a bunch of other devices, then I'd say, for now, I would blacklist the device in the supported device section of the Play Store console, and then I would try and either get hold of the device or perhaps use a service like testdroid.com to try and debug the issue. I'm not sure we're going to be able to do much offhand here without more logs.
Yeah, it's a strange one. Trying to upgrade read-only database. I don't know.
Some speculation. I think Sparky said something about it might be running out of space.
Oh.
No, Andrew Kelly says this.
Yeah, if you can get any more details of the code that you're running to do the database upgrade, any stack traces that you're seeing, put them into the moderator. We might be able to have a look at that, or come back next week with an updated question with a little bit more context, so we can look into it during the week.
Yeah, with all bugs, the key is being able to replicate it, I guess. So perhaps getting hold of the device somehow, like virtually or physically.
But you can always have a look in your Google Play Developer Console, and in there have a look at crash reports, and you should hopefully see the stack trace. I'm guessing that's where you're seeing it anyway. But if you can get the stack trace out of there and send it to us, ready for next week's office hours, hopefully we can come up with an answer for you.
He's linked to some stuff in the question, so maybe he's done that,
sorry.
but I just haven't
Hopefully it's
opened
a Stack
it.
Overflow. So.
Yeah.
Okay.
Are there any comments in the class?
Here's a good hint for you guys. So if you get your Android 4.2 device and you want to plug it into the USB to get your USB debugging connected up to your Android SDK, you're going to hit the settings screen. You can either drag down once from the top or twice from the top, hit settings, get through to settings, and you'll scroll down to the bottom and you won't find developer options anymore. Oh my god! Hopefully it's been going around a bit on G+, but because we have 560 million users and only a fraction of them are actual Android developers, we've hidden the developer options now. So you now go right down to the bottom of settings to the About screen and start tapping on the build line. You tap it, and then it says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You keep tapping, and then it says, congratulations, you're now a developer. And then developer options will reappear. If you're on multi-user system on a new Nexus 10 tablet, go to be the primary user to do that. Multi-user system, the first person who logs in is the primary user, and they have control over it. They can delete other accounts and add them once we can get access to the debugging options.
Okay.
Just thought I'd throw that in there because we've already had the question once, and we're bound to get it a couple more times.
So I think we exhausted the moderator thread in the G+ announcement post. Michael Back asks what our favourite APIs in Android 4.2 are. I think we've kind of given our favourite, so I went for Presentation API and the Media Router and stuff like that. Rich went for Daydreams, did you say?
Oh, I don't know. I think lock screen widgets for me.
You're Mr. Widget.
I am Mr. Widget. I won
Search your widget
Wonder.
and you find his app. First result. No, second result now. Beautiful widgets edge you out.
Beautiful widgets. Damn your beautiful widgets. They're just so pretty.
And they work on your lock screen. And they have a daydream.
Okay, easy. Damn you. Yeah, so lock screen widgets, the same API as normal widgets.
One feature, favourite feature.
I was just going to tell them how lock screen widgets work. But yeah, lock screen widgets, favourite feature. because I want Endomondo and the music app to both have lock screen widgets, so when I'm running, I can just see both, and I don't need to unlock my phone.
Yeah.
I just want to hit the power button. Oh look, I've done 12 kilometers, and I'm listening to.
But I think it's a good question. I want to open it up to you guys who are live in the Hangout here. If you've had a chance to take a look at the 4.2 APIs, what's the things that you're most excited about and can't wait to implement in your apps? And Rich is going to tell me what they say.
Go on then, one by one. Starting with Chris.
I think the presentation API, I haven't had a play with it yet, but I think the power of it and what you can do with it is pretty massive.
Yeah. If you want to see an example of that when you've got a device, the payload is happening. Joe?
Or there's an example in the API demos.
And there's an example too. Yeah.
I like the presentation as well because it's going to be really useful being able to just seamlessly show some content. It's going to be really good. But as well, I saw Dreams in the support package before it launched, and I thought, what on earth is that?
So he did spot Dreams in the support package before it launched. He was like, what the hell is that? You know, well, that's presentation. Presentation. Did you see presentation? 3 for presentation. My last group will just get uploaded. Mac,
I think I'm going to go for Daydreams. That was quite an interesting one.
1 for Daydreams, 3 for presentation, 1 for lock screen widgets. Richard Johnson, maybe you can type in the sidebar chat window. Whilst Sparky tells us what his favourite new API in the SDK is.
I don't know if it counts as an API very much, but I think my favorite new feature is improved bidirectional text support because I'm really excited about opening up Android to that next couple of billion users.
Improved bidirectional text support to open up Android to the extra couple of billion users.
Yeah.
That's looking at the big picture.
Pro tip with that is don't use the new constants as well. We used to use gravity left, gravity right in your layouts. So you used to like gravity the text to one side or the other. You now want to be looking at using gravity start and gravity end, so that will do the right thing in right to left languages rather than just left to right. And it's completely backward compatible because it's a bit wise mask thing. So it'll still work on all the devices as well. So take a look at those constants when you're setting the gravity on text. Yeah, good point.
And I think we've just been joined by Al Sutton.
Hey guys.
It is. It's definitely Al.
Oh
yeah. Tell by the tiny thumbnail in the very, very distant.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I see.
Yeah.
Making a joke.
Yeah, see what I did.
So jumping straight in there, Al, what's your favourite new API in the new SDK? I bet you've checked it out already.
Oh yeah, there's one method that I absolutely love, and that's usermanager.isagoat.
Usermanager.isagoat. I spotted that you'd spotted usermanager.isagoat exists.
Always false though.
And what was the description of the method?
It tells you whether the user is a goat capable of transportation.
Tells you whether the user is capable of transportation.
So you can now check if the user is a monkey and if the user is a goat. But user is monkey is actually useful.
It is actually true.
So that was on Google Plus about that relating to Chrome, because Chrome has that on some menu.
Sorry,
it's on Chrome as well about goats being teleported.
Something about how fast something's teleported.
Yeah, it's on Chrome. On Chrome, if you go into the debug options,
one of
the columns is how many goats have been transported.
How many goats have been transported is a debug option in Chrome? How many goats have been transported is a debug option in Chrome?
One of the columns.
Paul's nodding. Paul Kinlan, Mr. Chrome. So, he's never tried it himself.
But no one said fragmentception. Fragments and fragments and fragments and fragments.
No.
Let's go deeper. Chris was asking about that on G Plus earlier today. So that was 3 for presentation. 3 for people who care about just watching stuff on their own big TV. 1 for the rest of the world from Sparky. I mean, it's my lock screen.
Okay, I'm going to give you a few pro tips as well for new stuff in developer settings. So when you've done your tap to get your developer options back, there's a few new interesting settings you want to take a look at. First one I'm going to say is, if you want to develop these presentations but you don't have a TV or a Miracast display, there's a new option to emulate. There's a new option to emulate a second display so that you can develop for it and the device will see a second display. Second one I'm going to talk about is, what was it I was going to say?
Developer options.
Overdraw. So there's a new option in there so you can tell the hardware rendering pipeline to kind of like overlay how much overdrawing you're doing. So I think that's one of the biggest problems in applications performance. So if you're trying to just basically do too much work, we're all lazy. Just don't do any work you don't have to do basically. So it's a cool tool in developer options which will like overlay it in like blue if you're drawing twice, or green if you're drawing 3 times, or like reds if you're like drawing the pixels 5 times, which is extremely wasteful, especially if you're scrolling and so on. So that's a really, really cool way to know if you're doing too much work. And then you can use the tracer for OpenGLES tool, which is part of the SDK, to actually step through your rendering operations and work out, oh, I'm drawing an opaque background and I'm drawing a completely opaque layer on top of that. So, that's completely wasted drawing pixels one round. So that's super cool.
Absolutely, yeah. Roman ran through some examples yesterday when he'd been doing this, reducing the number of layers of drawing and the amount of performance he put to like.
Yeah, so you want your buttery, smooth, scrolling list, then don't be drawing every pixel 5 times.
We just spotted a Jake Wharton walking by as well, who's now got no choice but to come on and say hello.
So we're doing our regular office hours hangout, and unfortunately there's no sound, only Rich can hear.
I can hear all the guys, and they say you nice as well.
To the wall.
But this is the microphone.
Do you want to say hello and what you do and what you're doing here at Devoxx?
Sure. So I'm
down here.
my name's Jake Wharton. I work at Square, and I do a ton of open source stuff. Speaking about all the open source projects that I've done and Square puts out, and hopefully getting some excitement for all these projects, and so that everyone can make better apps.
So if you don't know, Jake writes Action Bar Sherlock, major contributor to Action Bar Sherlock, so often an answer.
So I'm asking now, do you have any statistics on the number of applications that are using your libraries?
No, but AppBrain website, they do lists, and it's pretty high up. I think it was in the top 10.
The support library.
Support library is way at the top. It's like 20%.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only something like 1% of installs.
1% of installs?
Yeah, and that's only whatever they track. So,
but that's all the best apps because they care about having an action bar across.
Right, but it's also only free apps because they can't. I don't think they can get data from paid apps.
Really?
I don't know how that.
Can you give them a pat on the back and a
pull,
combined thanks from everyone here, because it's an awesome library.
Somebody's talking.
Al says going to give you a pat on the back, a combined thanks from everyone here and the entire Android development community.
Yeah, bravo.
Thanks very much, Jake.
You're welcome.
Yeah, awesome work.
Cool. How are we doing for time? The clock is minuscule and a long way away.
5 minutes too.
Okay, in the last 5 minutes. Are there any more questions coming in on the comments thread or live from the Hangout?
I can probably answer the one about the SQL database one earlier about the getting the error about the read-only.
Cheers, Jake. Thanks very much. Bye. Go on then. Go on, give me a quick answer if you know what it is.
I've come across a read-only problem before. It was on early versions of Android 2, and the best way to get around it was to do a get writable on create and then close the database straight afterwards. It's pretty hacky, but it seemed to solve the issue in almost every case.
Excellent. Hopefully that solves the issue for them as well. When you're ready to do again. We'll talk about this later offline. I think we're finished with the moderator. Matt, were there any more questions on the comments thread?
No, we've kind of had a couple of requests for whether there's going to be an official dock for the Nexus 4 and other devices, so Daydream will work.
An official dock for the Nexus 4. The Nexus 4 is getting the wireless charging, and Daydreams will work when it's docked into that, yes.
When you set Daydreams, you have the choice to tell it when to dream. So the choices are when docked, when on power, or both.
Yeah,
so you can choose one of those.
I'm looking forward to getting hold of the Nexus 4's official wireless charger when that goes on sale. I haven't seen one myself yet, but I've seen a video on it. We're using, it is a standard, the wireless charging standard that we're using. So we use a power plate of some sort in the office. I think it's Energizer, the one we've got. So you can get these things off Amazon relatively cheaply, kind of $20.
I think the Nokia ones work as well, right? The little pillow.
Yeah, we're all embracing the standards with the wireless charging. But it's really nice just to be able to drop it down on your bedside table.
I can't wait for IKEA to build it into my bedside table.
Oh, I want furniture. Outlet charging.
Get on that, please, IKEA. Thank you.
Do we know if by default Android daydreams of electric sheep?
Do we know if by default Android daydreams of electric sheep? Question.
That
Only
sounds like a
if
copyright infringement.
I think Asimov's out of copyright. I don't know. Only if you've installed a Handy Games app recently. Maybe? It would be epic if Handy Games did
Clouds and Sheep need to add Daydream.
And you could just sit
Handy
there
Games, Christopher, if you're listening.
And let me go. Please do that.
Do it.
That would be epic. We'll give you a shout out in the next office hours afterwards if you do. Okay, I think we're out of time.
Yeah.
And all that's left to say is thank you for joining us here from Devoxx.
Hope you could hear us and make it all out.
Yeah, we'll be posting the links to the Parlay site for the Android talks that we're given here at Devoxx, with a little bit of a brief rundown on them. It's the general what's new in Android talk, the for better or for worse, these kind of things, and of course our Code Lab on integrating Drive.
Yeah, and Jake's talk on using all the awesome Square open source tooling to bootstrap your development. Obviously, going to be on Parlays as well. Look out for that. I'm sure it'll be excellent.
Okay.
And yeah, you can go to my profile, and I've shared a link to the Code Lab that we gave on using Drive to sync data between your apps and the web and everywhere, so that everything stays in sync.
Again, thank you very much to the people who joined us live in the Hangout. It helped us out massively today when we couldn't hear, read, or speak or anything.
Conferences.
Yes. Cheers. All of you, thank you very much, and
Bye.
we'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.